Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. So let's get right into a question I see all the time. How in the world is a single Kuwaiti dinar worth more than $3? It feels kind of backwards, right? Well, it turns out the answer is this really amazing story about oil, smarts, and playing the long game. Now, you've probably heard it called the strongest currency on the planet. But what if I told you that's not exactly the right word for it? Yeah, let's unpack that, because the real story behind the dinar's value is honestly way cooler than just a simple label. You know, to really get this, we have to look at this awesome point from a Reddit user, M. Bulland, who just nailed it. They said a strong currency like the US dollar gets used everywhere for global trade. The dinar, not so much. Instead, what it is the highest valued. And believe me, that one little word change makes all the difference. It's the key to this whole thing. So, that brings us to our first big idea. We've got to separate these two concepts: strength, which is about global use, and value, which is about the exchange rate. Let's dig in. Okay, so what does highest valued actually mean? It's simple, really. It just means that if you have one Kuwaiti dinar, you can swap it for a whole bunch of another currency. Right now, that's about $3.25. So we're not asking why it's the most powerful currency in the world. We're asking why it has such a crazy high exchange rate. All right, let's move on to the most obvious piece of the puzzle: oil. Now, everybody knows Kuwait has oil, but just having a lot of oil money doesn't automatically mean you get a stable, high-value currency. It's just the starting point. And this number right here, wow, it just shows you how massive that starting point is. A staggering 95% of everything Kuwait sells to the rest of the world is oil. Think about that. It's like a company where 95% of its sales come from a single product that literally everyone on earth needs. That creates this constant, massive demand for Kuwaiti dinars. And this isn't just a short-term thing. Kuwait is sitting on about 6% of the entire planet's proven oil reserves. Just let that sink in. That's not a guess, it's a near guarantee of income for the next 100 years. That kind of stability, that predictability, is like solid gold for an economy. It builds incredible confidence in the dinar. And just look at this map. You can see where all that oil money is coming from. They've got a really diverse customer list, with huge economies like China, India, and Japan buying the most. So they're not just dependent on one customer. This is global demand, which just adds another powerful layer of security to their whole economy. But listen, having a ton of cash flowing in is one thing. What you actually do with that money, that's what really matters. And this is where the story gets really, really smart, because Kuwait doesn't just spend its oil money, it invests it, using the world's very first national piggy bank. Let me introduce you to the Kuwait Investment Authority, or the KIA. They started this thing way, way back in 1953, decades before most other countries even dreamed up this idea. Their entire job is to take the nation's wealth and make it grow for future generations. And their history is just incredible. I mean, they were founded in '53, but in 1990, they faced the ultimate test. The fact that they could survive that and then help rebuild the entire nation's economy, well, that resilience is a huge reason for the country's long-term stability today. And here's the payoff for all that long-term thinking. Projections show the KI's assets are going to cross $1 trillion. That's a 1 with 12 zeros. It's a number so huge, it's hard to even wrap your head around. Think of it like this. That massive fund invested all over the world acts like a second engine for the economy, pumping in a huge, stable income that has nothing to do with oil. Okay, so we've got the oil wealth, we have the super savvy investments, but there's a third, kind of technical pillar holding up the dinar. And honestly, this is the real secret weapon. It's their very deliberate monetary policy. So a lot of Kuwait's neighbors use something called a dollar peg. Think of it like tying your small boat to one single giant ship, the US dollar. If that big ship slows down, well, your little boat gets dragged down with it. Kuwait does something different. They use a basket peg. They tie their boat to a whole fleet of ships, the dollar, the euro, the yen, you name it. This spreads out the risk and gives them so much more stability and control. And this isn't just a textbook theory, folks. We saw this policy play out for real back in 2007. The US dollar was getting weaker, and that was causing prices in Kuwait to shoot up. So what did they do? They made the strategic call to ditch the dollar-only system and go back to their more stable basket peg. And check this out. This chart shows you exactly why that move was so brilliant. You can see it in action. As inflation, that's the dotted line, started to spike, the central bank let the dinar, the solid line, get stronger. Why does that matter? Simple. A stronger dinar makes it cheaper to buy stuff from other countries, and cheaper imports help bring prices down for everybody. It's an incredible amount of control to have. So, to boil it all down, this policy gives them 3 massive advantages. 1, it gives them a direct tool to fight inflation. 2, it protects their economy if any one foreign currency has a bad year. And 3, it gives their central bank the power to actively manage and defend the dinar's high value. Okay, so when you pull all these threads together, you see it, right? The dinar's high value isn't some happy accident. This isn't luck. This is a very deliberate, multi-decade strategy. It all comes down to 3 incredibly strong pillars. First, you have that massive long-term foundation of oil wealth. Second, you have the genius forward-thinking strategy of investing that wealth globally through the KIA. And third, you have a sophisticated monetary policy that uses that currency basket to keep things stable no matter what. It's really a masterclass in how a country can turn natural resources into long-term financial stability. It makes you think, doesn't it? Which has me wondering, what country's economy or currency do you think we should break down next? Drop your ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see them. Hey, if you enjoyed this little explainer and learned something new, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, share it with someone who'd find it interesting, and of course, make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives just like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.